welcome to Weird Historian. Today, we're opening the oldest photo album in American history. These aren't just old photos, they're living proof of who we were and how far we've come. A 12-year-old boy works as a thread puller in a New York City clothing factory sweatshop, 1889. A Chinese railroad workers' camp near Brown Station of the Central Pacific Railroad, Nevada, 1869. A family-run apiary, also called beehives, near Oquin, Texas, 1890s. A late 1800s steam-powered thresher, Pennsylvania. A miner and his dog at Silver Plume, Colorado, 1890. A very busy Old West stage stop at Riverside, California, 1866. African-American Buffalo soldiers of the 10th Cavalry making camp in Huntsville, Alabama on October 18, 1898. After returning from Cuba and the Spanish-American War. An early small-scale sawmill in Nebraska. Trees were not plentiful in many places of the state because waves of settlers along the early trails, the railroad, and then the homesteaders took their toll on the trees that did exist. Appalachian farmers with pitchforks, 19th century. Axes, guns, and a duck decoy. Back when Cincinnati made its own beer. According to this late 19th century picture, German saloons at this corner of Cincinnati are where you could get a free Wienerwurst with each drink. Burro pack train in the Ute Pass on its way to Leadville, Colorado, 1870. Captain Dan Roberts' Texas Rangers in camp below Fort McCavitt in Menard County, Texas, 1878. Cheyenne Girl, Gertrude, Three Fingers, New Mexico, 1890. Cheyenne Scout, Stumphorn, and his family using a horse-drawn travois, 1889. Chippewa Camp, South Harbor, Minnesota, 1875. Circle of Covered Wagons in Denver, 1865. Civil War soldiers of the 5th New York at Fortress Monroe dining on a box. Cleaning up the streets of old New York City, 1890s. Comanche Camp, Buffalo Hide Lodges, 1872. Enslaved African Americans prepare cotton for a cotton gin on Smith's Plantation, Port Royal Island, South Carolina, 1862. Erie Canal lock construction in the mid-19th century in Boonville, New York. Family on their Mississippi River houseboat or shanty boat, late 19th century. Female blacksmiths, 19th century. Grinding an axe out by the old corn crib, 19th century. grinding sugar cane for syrup, Florida, 1890s. Horse-drawn ambulance, City Hospital, Baltimore, 1890. Insane web of telephone wires in New York City, 1887. Inside a lumberjack bunkhouse on a Sunday in the Michigan woods, 1890. John Kitts, the last Revolutionary War soldier. In 1776, when he was 14 years old, he participated in the Battle of Yorktown. At one time, he was the errand boy or messenger to Washington and Lafayette. Photo taken in 1867. Kicking Bear, Sue, teaching bow and arrow skills to his son. Laying electric cable in the Pearl Street financial district of New York City, 1882. Life in an Appalachian mountain cabin, Wayne County, West Virginia, 19th century. Life of a railroad maintenance worker in the late 1800s. Handcars were used during large construction and maintenance projects. The gang car also contains several lunchboxes. Log chute with ox teams, 1890s. Loggers using big wheel carts, Oregon, late 1800s. Los Angeles City oil field, 1890s. Lovely ladies of 1845. Making baskets in Appalachia, 1800s. Mule power on the Morris Canal, Port Orem, New Jersey, 19th century. Newly arrived immigrants, New York City, 1896. Old Eastern Kentucky farmers protecting their tobacco field, 1890s. Old Leatherman, a well-known 19th century vagabond who wandered endlessly for years between the lower Hudson Valley, New York, and western Connecticut in a suit made entirely of leather. Old West brothel, 19th century. Old West saloon where the cowboys gathered, 1890. On the crowded streets of Goldfield, Nevada in the late 1800s or early 1900s. A nicely detailed photograph of a town in the Old West. On the frontier streets of Lampasas, Texas, 1880. One of the earliest photos showing a Native American with a wolf. Unlike the myths created about wolves by settlers, Indians maintained a close and respectful relationship with wolves. Osage Man, Forebears, Smoking Pipe, 1878. Pioneer dugout on the South Loop River in Custer County, Nebraska, complete with horses and wagon on the roof. Pioneer flatboat on a Kentucky river in the 1800s. Southern civilians with their slaves wait in line to receive rations from the Union Army during the Civil War, Beaufort, South Carolina. Steamer Marion plying the Ocklawaha River, in Florida during the 1880s. Sweetwater, saloon and retail beer, 5 cents, and ladies' goods. The Beware and Steel pawnbrokers in Ironton, Colorado, 1886. The Busy Market in Military Plaza, San Antonio, Texas, 1892. The first steam-powered plow in Garden City, Kansas, 1890s. The Old Oyster Stand, New York City, 1898. The sod homestead of the Barnes family, Custer County, Nebraska, 1887. Union soldiers building winter quarters at Fort Brady, Virginia, 1864. Wagon train arrives in an unknown western town. Wells Fargo Company Express delivery wagon loaded with packages, 19th century. Wind wagon for sailing across the plains, Kansas, 1860. Young Ute warrior and his dog in the Uinta Valley of the Wasatch Mountains, Utah, 1873. A 14-year-old river boy poles the heavy logs into the incline that takes them up to the mill. He made $1 a day working at the Miller and Vidor Lumber Company in Beaumont, Texas, 1913. A Denver policeman is about to incarcerate a wrongdoer in a street corner jail, 1900. Hopefully, it was just a temporary holding cell. American soldier buying eggs from a Mexican woman during the U.S. punitive expedition of 1917 into Mexico. The expedition sought to capture Mexican revolutionary leader Pancho Villa after he had raided into New Mexico. American soldier, doughboy, departing for World War I in 1917. An old-time Coca-Cola bottling plant in Quincy, Florida, 1908. Baked potato street vendor with pushcart oven, Lower East Side of New York City, 1905. Busy soda ice cream parlor in the K&B drugstore, New Orleans, 1920s. Canal locks at Louisville, Kentucky on the Ohio River, 1906. Cheyenne woman offering pipe to the earth during the sun dance ceremony, 1911. Children posing in their best Sunday attire in front of an adobe church in New Mexico Territory, 1908. Children with their horse-drawn school bus in West Palm Beach, Florida, 1911. Chippewa people smoking and scraping buckskins, 1900. Coast Guard beach patrol somewhere on the Oregon coastline, 1943. Collecting water from the old well house outside of a log ranch house in Colorado, 1900. Completing the transcontinental phone line in Wendover, Utah, 1914. construction worker on 41st Street in New York City takes a break during the August 1947 heat wave. Crow Indian tribal fire, early 1900s. Electrical line crew, Maine, 1900. Experimental camouflage for US soldiers during World War I. Family at a migrant workers' camp during the Great Depression. Harley-Davidson rural mail delivery, Bartow, Florida, 1912. Hauling telephone poles through the streets of Whittier, California, 1910. Hobo camped by railroad tracks reading a newspaper during the Great Depression. Horses pulled passengers about 1.5 miles uphill, and then the fun began. For the much faster trip downhill, the horse boarded the car via a wooden ramp and rode back along with the passengers. 1900. Janet Kinsman, munitions worker at the Morley Night Company in Detroit, 1943. Laundry Day, sometime in 1900. Navajo Foot Race, Ganado, Arizona, 1906. Navajo Mother and Baby, 1910. Newsboys, St. Louis, 1910. Ojibwe, women filling birch bark containers with maple sugar and syrup, Mille Lacs, Minnesota, 1925. Old Country Schoolhouse in Alabama, 1935. Old Woman in Sunbonnet, Southern Appalachian Highlands, 1920s. On the bustling streets of a silver mining boomtown, Tonopah, Nevada, 1903. Pack horse library carrier delivering books to rural mountain residents in Kentucky in the 1930s. Prison chain gang building a portion of the Dixie Highway through Georgia, 1927. Refugees from the San Francisco earthquake, 1906. Renowned ex-lawman Wyatt Earp in his desert camp at the Happy Days gold mine across the river from Parker, Arizona, 1920s. Seneca Woman, New York, 1908. Slaying on Beacon Street, Boston, February 1901. Snakes on display in the Big Cypress Swamp, Florida, 1910. Steam-operated merry-go-round, Blackfoot, Idaho, 1905. Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood before it was Hollywood, 1905. The ancient face of John Smith, a Chippewa Indian who lived in Minnesota and was reputed to have been 137 years old at his death in about 1920. Photo taken in 1912. The Brewery Gulch section of Bisbee, Arizona, 1900. The Fruitvale Garage Corporation in Oakland, California. Pictured are Rio and Maxwell automobiles, plus a classic motorcycle. Nice vintage signs, 1910s. The J.B. Grease Bakery in Rhyolite, Nevada, 1907. The Palace Theatre was the first movie house opened by H. Schoenstatt and Sons in Chicago. Kid Canfield was a silent movie that made its debut in 1912, so this image must date to the 1912 era. The Strange Bowls of Joy building at the Pan Pacific Exposition, San Francisco, 1915. Tribal Ceremony and Totem Poles, Pacific Northwest, 1906. Typical workers' house in a company town, Welch, West Virginia, 1946. White Slavery, Missing Girls Sideshow in Lancaster, Pennsylvania Fair, 1930s.